Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Hedera and Hbar. So with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. One of the biggest talking subjects of the channel lately is stablecoins. Stablecoins are becoming a spotlighted thing around the space, and they always have been. Even back in 2021, we witnessed a big spotlight put on them. And ever since, they've just grown into a much larger and larger spotlight. And the reason why is because of how much money is actually behind stablecoins, which we will get to here in a second. But first and foremost, I want to talk about a few things happening around Hedera with stablecoin. And this is an individual, this is the SVP at Worldpay joining Hedera to talk about Web3, crypto, and stablecoins. Specifically, Worldpay's proof of reserves, bringing increased trust to payment settlement and addressing stablecoin uncertainty using the Hedera network. Now, this is actually with USDC, with Circle, which, by the way, one of the most prominent names in the space at this point. I've actually alerted at the idea that USDC is most likely going to be the US dominated stablecoin. But we have key points. As one of the world's largest payment processors, Worldpay offer merchants and individuals the ability to receive settlement for payments in a number of different currencies, including USDC. Worldpay's proof of reserve solution, built using Hedera, aims to address industry-wide concerns surrounding the use of stablecoins. Worldpay's proof of reserve solution, built using Hedera, aims to address industry-wide concerns surrounding the use of stablecoins. And I think that this is a huge move. We've talked about it in the past a little bit, but for those out there that actually don't know, like, Worldpay is a giant. You know, next to MasterCard, Visa, things like that, Worldpay used to be owned by FIS. Now, FIS Global, huge name. Recently, they sold off Worldpay. I forgot to who, but this is now newly owned by another company. But outside of that, right, this is, it's an independent company. I thought that they sold off to a new company, but as we do see at the top there, it's actually an independent company now. But they still remain strategic in terms of their go-to market partners through long-term commercial agreements, providing both Worldpay and FIS clients continued access to a broad set of complementary solutions. But either way, the main thing that I want to focus on here is the fact that Worldpay is pretty much for everyone. Platforms, businesses, enterprises, all that. The numbers behind this, though, is what I'm really looking at, right? You have 146 countries. You have $2.2 trillion processed in 2022 alone. 1 million plus merchants supported globally, 135 currencies, and 24/7, 365 dedicated customer service. This is a payment processor that is an absolute giant and everyone should be looking at, especially considering the fact that it is heavily tapped in with Hedera. And you can actually see some of the players that utilize Worldpay. These are big names that everyone pretty much knows about. You have Twitch, Amazon, Target, Google, Microsoft. The list goes on and on and on. This is a name that I've been focused on ever since we did see FIS added to the GC list for Hedera, and we speculated many times in the past on what types of use cases will be, coming out around this. Now, I never thought that we would have stablecoin initiatives with Worldpay, but hey, it just morphed into reality, which is a huge move. But beyond that, right, like, as we really look at Worldpay, I feel as though too many people look at just the numbers and say, yeah, this is going to be huge. It's not just the numbers, right? It's actually the background behind Worldpay. Like, the names, the awards, the players that are tied to Worldpay are huge, prominent leaders in the world of payments, finance, things like that. Obviously, yes, some of the numbers here, they're huge. 1 million plus merchants worldwide, 2.2 trillion processed annually, 130 million plus daily transactions. And just for reference, right, the 130 million plus daily transactions, that's definitely something to note, considering the fact that when we actually look at Metrica, Hedera is only processing about 115.5 million transactions per day. Now, remember, these are just transactional events. It could be pretty much anything. But when we have something like this, where we actually have transactions, and I mean actual transactions, where money's moving, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. And I do think that this could very well be settled out on Hedera eventually in the future, as we do start to shift into a much more dominant digital landscape than where we are at right now. But until we get there, yeah, things are going to be slow at first, and then all at once we'll start to see a lot of dominance usurped from the traditional world into the digital world. But again, outside of this, again, when we really look at stablecoin initiatives, that's the full focus here. And I think that this is only going to continue to grow. I mean, hell, even when you look at some of the names tied to Worldpay, like for an example, Amazon, Target, Twitch, you name it, what do all of these companies and all of these names have in common? They're doing transactions. There's a lot of transactions. There's a lot of, payments going through. And when we talk about that, right, the payment industry is ripe for disruption. And it's ripe for disruption by stablecoin initiatives, by DLT, by blockchain. This is where everything starts to change in a rapid pace. Once we start to have transactions settled on DLT rather than traditional means, that's it. We're now in the future around payments and technology regarding payments. But also over here, back in July, Genfinity.io, the team at Generation Infinity, actually put out a full clip about Worldpay from FIS equals 40 billion transactions, 1.7 trillion volume annually. Last week in our Hedera Corner Twitter space, we learned the first time Worldpay has a live proof of concept leveraging Hedera for USDC and stablecoin proof of reserves, which, by the way, is this. And this is a little bit more of an in-depth view. Now they're doing 2.2 trillion in terms of volume annually, but this is Worldpay with Circle and Hedera. Check it out.
We are working on a proof of concept, fairly interesting, and it relates to the product that I was describing earlier around the ability to settle USDC to exchanges, to wallets, to other crypto Web3 businesses that would like to receive USDC as opposed to fiat. And so the kind of, I guess, macro problem there was, all right, there's no real proof of reserve for stable coins in general. Like, solving the problem of like, what is backing up this stable coin? So yeah, like Circle does audits, right? Periodically, they test, and you have a pretty good insight into, what their stablecoins are backed up in terms of reserves. But if we're saying for a WorldPay customer, for example, they may want to say for their own audit purposes or for their own reporting and reconciliation, is this something just like WorldPay and Circle cooking up and saying, here's your stable coin? Or do we really take that money that we got from them or from their customer, move that into a Circle account, mint USDC? So what we're doing is working with Hedera and the wider group there to basically do a proof of concept for proof of reserves and put that on the Hedera network. Now, what that really means is it's pretty easy to demonstrate when you generate a USDC coin, but really what we had to figure out is, how do we prove that those payment files from the series of banks, from Worldpay, from the payment method themselves actually moves into the Circle and ultimately gets minted? And so we use what's, I guess, called an oracle. I believe we chose, and Jesse can back me up here, he probably knows more than I do, or I believe we chose Hashport Pro Axiom as our oracle choice. And that essentially is just a way of like automating, the payment files and saying that, indeed it is one for one, this amount of fiat and this amount of USDC.
And mind you, this is Hedera with Circle with Worldpay. I mean, these are three of the most prominent names around the space now collaborating. And it's so damn crucial to mention this at this point, because when we look at the adoption of stablecoins, this is only going to continue to grow. I mean, in 2022, the worst year for crypto in a very long time, where we had Luna collapse, we had Voyager, Celsius, FTX. I mean, all of it in that year, right? $7 trillion worth of stablecoins were still transacted that year. And you're probably thinking like, damn, that's actually kind of crazy considering the fact that nobody wanted to be in this market at that time. It was one of the most bearish times around crypto. And we're going all the way back to March of 2020 as well. So as we really look at stablecoin initiatives, this is only going to continue to grow and grow and grow, especially when we look at the bull market, right? During the bull market, this is going to grow astronomically. I mean, 7 trillion could easily turn into 14 or possibly even 20. We don't know. But one thing that we do know is that we still need proof of reserves. We need things in place behind stablecoins if this is going to continue to grow the way it has. And just for reference, MasterCard in 2022 only had $2.2 trillion worth of value settled. So think about that. You could clearly see how fast the stablecoin market is growing and how big it is becoming. That's why I do think that the stablecoin studio that recently launched on Hedera back in September, it's a huge move in the right direction, and it's something that is going to provide a breeding ground for stablecoin initiatives from prominent names around organizations, businesses, institutions, you name it. All of them are going to be looking at something like this and saying, yeah, we want to choose this platform. Again, we already know that Ripple has their CBDC and stablecoin platform. I think that there's going to be many leaders around this, but it really comes down to the best-in-class technology and the ones that already have big players on par with it. We already know some of the most prominent names in the payment space, like PayPal, for an example, are already launching stablecoin initiatives already on Ethereum, for an example. But it's only a matter of time until we start to see a lot more big players tapping in to pilots with stablecoin initiatives and tapping into the stablecoin market, especially when we are talking about $7 trillion during a bear market year, while MasterCard, a prominent name that pretty much everyone knows, it's a blue chip, $2.2 trillion. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. But also outside of that, right? Hedera's already been at the forefront of regulation and also standardization around stablecoin initiatives. Back in October, we actually saw Hedera president and chief policy officer speak at CoinDesk State of Crypto Policy and Regulation Conference breakout session on stablecoin regulation alongside fellow leading voices in Web3 and policymaking. Also, Brian Brooks, by the way, prominent name around regulation, standardization around finance. He's a huge name. He also joined Hedera just recently back in 2023. I mean, when we really look at the team at Hedera, it is stacked to the brim, especially around the compliance side of things. And I always say the names in this space that are compliant first with, really kind of tapped in on the regulatory side, they're going to be very, very successful, especially now that we are starting to see regulations accelerate even faster than ever before and becoming a much larger spotlighted attentive piece. Guess what? Now you're going to see the blue chips really rising in this market. It's also why I say Hedera is going to be a top 10 project. With everything that they're focused on, they're making sure that they're doing everything in the most professional way possible. They want to make sure that they have everything lined up. They want to make sure that they are crossing every single T, dotting every single I, because they know at the end of the day, the ones that are actually here that are building out legitimate use cases, that are putting in the time, putting in the effort, working with the big players, they're going to be successful. And they're going to be the future Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, you name it, of the future. And also, last but not least, big shout out to Zepsi. We have the next wave of stablecoin growth is positioned for Hedera. Leading banks like SB Group, Shinhan, and even Cathay are paving the way. MasterCard integrated via FSCO. The stablecoin studio has launched. USDD will drop as Hedera Hbar captures the emerging markets as well. And remember, right, USDD is US dollar dominance. And it will, right? Emerging markets are already growing here on Hedera. Some of the biggest names out there are already tapped in on Hedera. But beyond that, MasterCard is already on par with Hedera. And they're settling $2.2 trillion worth of volume back in 2022. I'm sure that has either grown or stayed pretty stable for the most part, because again, MasterCard is one of the most adopted players out there in the real world, in the traditional world. So think about the how stacked Hedera is at this point around stablecoin initiatives. So focus on this. This is going to be a big one that I think everyone should definitely keep an eye out on, because stablecoin adoption and stablecoins itself, they're only going to continue to grow in value and volume, especially as the market and the ecosystems around this market grow even more. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. Also, if you guys do want to go check out NordVPN, guys, 4 free months, and also up to 72% off right now utilizing my link only. Again, this is an affiliate deal. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. It does help the channel. And it also is something that I do make money off of if you do purchase through my link. But if you do purchase through my link, you do save a ton on these products. And again, I utilize this VPN every single day. It is one of the most secure and it's one of the fastest ones out there. I have not utilized a VPN that is even close to NordVPN. And if you guys do want to go check it out, there's going to be a link down in the description below as well as in the comments below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.